Hello and welcome to the news. I am Doreen Barry. Coming up in this edition of the news, British Parliament delegation commends President Bill for progress made so far by his government. High Court schedule over 400 cases for trial, and Anti-Corruption Commission makes unannounced visit to the SLFA Academy at King Tom. All these stories and more line up in this edition of the news. Now for our first story. A delegation from the British Parliament has commended President Julius Maada Bio for moves he has taken so far since elected as president. Head of delegation Honorable John Mann said as lawmakers they are impressed with the astute leadership qualities already shown by President Bio. Our State House correspondent Awamosiri reports.
In an election he described as being democratic and credible, adding that it's shown clear signs of how much the country has developed democratically. Honorable John Mann stated that the British Parliament was delighted with the strengthening of cooperation between the British Parliament and its Sierra Leone counterparts. He said that they are aware of the free quality education, which is a laudable venture, and anticipated that there will be development in other sectors as well. They were delighted about the democratic values of the country and how the two parliaments have cooperated in recognizing the significance of democracy and the close tie between the two countries, he said.
Considering history over the last few decades, to move to changes of government peacefully is a sure sign of a growing healthy democracy. We are delighted as well that a partnership is strengthening through the Commonwealth Parliamentary Association between our two parliaments. And we don't come as, it would be pleasurable to come as tourists, but we three parliamentarians are extremely busy, incredibly busy.
President Julius Maada Bio thanked the delegation for their visit to the country, adding that the nature of the present parliament was a strange one, but that his government has adapted quickly because of its level of inclusion. President Bio assured them of his determination to work with the opposition for the furtherance of the country, noting that the new government was fully committed to peace, democracy and inclusive governance. He disclosed that his government inherited a nearly bankrupt economy, which was making the development process very challenging, and that he had to institute tough revenue generation drives, one of which was the single treasury account, which he added has been able to help support government in its priority programs.
The business of governance definitely is everybody's business, and we made a pledge, and we have to. It's sometimes difficult, of course, because there is definitely polarity in this country when it comes to politics. But then our burning desire to go forward is stronger than any obstacle that falls in the way. So we have been able, or we are still grappling or trying to see how we can work with the opposition. We have a seasoned Speaker of Parliament. He has a wealth of knowledge, and he's been able to navigate that very difficult terrain. So far, so good.
Despite the poor economic climate his administration inherited, they have been able to start major programs through robust revenue generation. As a nation, his government wants to lay a solid foundation that will enable sustainable development, and in doing so, they have figured out education as one of the flagship programs, as they want citizens to be part of the development process, and that is why they are providing free quality education for the kids.
Flagship program is actually education. In a country where 3 out of 5 adults cannot read and write, you cannot embark on development. That would be a lip service. So I have said that we should pay serious attention to education. We were once known as the most educated country in West Africa. We inherited that from you, and would again need your support to gain that former glory. The university here was known in Africa. Today it is a mere caricature of what it used to be.
President Bio was very tough on addressing democratic accountability and fighting corruption. He said that corruption was very pervasive, depriving the ordinary people of basic amenities. In another development, President Bio received Chief of Staff Air Marshal from the Nigerian military, Siddiq Baba Abubakar, and team at State House. President Bio commended the team for the visit, as Nigerian and Sierra Leone have strong bilateral ties and military cooperation, as most of them were in the country during the civil conflict. Sierra Leone President Bio noted was the base for the Nigerian Air Force, and it is an honor for him to receive them.
We have gone a long way. We are now a peaceful country thanks to your contribution, your effort. We've lost a lot of people here, and we never lose the opportunity to say thank you to Nigeria and your effort. Now that we have peace, we should share in the peace. And to have peace means you have to be ready to make the sacrifices to make sure that there is no war, to make sure that you take care of your people.
The team is in Sierra Leone to assess the airways and the ECOWAS logistics depot, as the Nigerian Air Force will also meet with the Ministry of Defense to discuss how to develop the Sierra Leone Air Force that was established in 1994, which was vandalized during the war. SABC TV News Eye in Freetown, Hawamosiri reporting.
Over 400 cases have been scheduled for the trial during the 2018 criminal session of the High Court. The opening saw 35 cases presided over by the Chief Justice Abdullah Cham. The prevalent cases for this session include sexual penetration, wounding with intent, conspiracy, and robbery with aggravation. The accused have been in remand since 2013, and sentencing by the Chief Justice considered time spent at the correctional service. The Director of Public Prosecution, Suleiman Ba, said the move is to decongest the correctional center. Counsel Cecilia Toka of the Legal Aid Board represented most of the accused persons who pleaded guilty to most of the charges. The Chief Justice Abdullah Cham expressed concern over the increase of sexual penetration cases. He described the situation as sickening, especially for cases involving infants. The Anti-Corruption Commission has made an announced visit at the Sierra Leone Football Association Secretariat, King Tom. According to the Deputy Director of Investigations Department, Augustine Gobi, the visit is to make sure Madam Aisha Yuansin and Under Secretary General Chris Kamara comply with the ACC's ultimatum given to the duo a week ago. Frances Bernard reports.
A follow-up to a letter that was written by the ACC to the President and the Secretary General of the Football Association, asking them to step aside from office until their corruption investigation is completed. According to the Deputy Director of Investigation at the ACC, Augustine Gombi, his office is working in line with the provisions made in the 2008 ACC Act. He said they will continue to monitor the situation at the FA until Aisha Johansson and Chris Kamara comply with the laws of the land.
We are here to ensure that measures are being taken so that the former President, Madam Johansson, and the Secretary General, Chris Kamara, do not by any means have access to this building, to this office, to this place, until the corruption case against them is settled before the court of law. Ideally, and by their own integrity, they should relinquish all of those functions.
The keys to the FA Secretariat were officially handed over to the Vice President One of the FA, Brahma Manzula Kamara, who promised to work in the interest of Sierra Leoneans.
It was a scary situation. Myself and the rest of the guys that were with me, when they walked in, they said that they are in here search warrant. They in fact introduced themselves as ACC, and then they introduced and then told us that the situation is to make sure that Chris and Madam Aisha, they are not at the office. No, I know it's a dicey situation, but because of the country and as a patriot of this country, somebody that gave sweat and blood for the country, I have to uphold the law. If they said that this is what they want, that Chris and Aisha should step aside, myself as a vice president should step in, it's a welcome idea. This power that is invested in me now, I think I will speed up the permanent.
The Anti-Corruption Commission of Sierra Leone in 2017 indicted President of the Sierra Leone Football Association, Madam Aisha Johansen, and General Secretary Chris Kamara on 6 counts of abuse of office and misappropriation of public funds, contrary to Section 42(1) and 36(1) of the Anti-Corruption Commission Act 2008. Aisha Johansen was elected SLFA boss in August 2013 in a controversial election. For SLBC News, Francis Barnard in Freetown.
The Ministry of Health and Sanitation, in collaboration with the development partners, has launched the Sierra Leone Every Newborn Action Plan 2017 to 2030. The ultimate aim of this newborn action plan is to reduce child mortality in the country. The Deputy Minister of Health and Sanitation, Dr. Anthony Augustine Sandy, said the ministry is committed towards issues relating to reducing child mortality. He made the statement at the Miata Conference Center, U Building in Freetown. Joseph Toure filed in this reports.
Of the free health care in 2010, many lactating mothers and pregnant women have benefited, but this has faced serious challenges, including the non-accessibility of these drugs to the actual beneficiaries. The resident Minister Northwest, Aja Aisata Kamara, lauded the Ministry of Health and Sanitation for the venture and also noted that the government hospital is in a very bad shape. She called on the health minister to take cogent action in ensuring that the targeted beneficiaries receive the drugs. A representative of the Department for International Development, DFID, Jaya Vera, said they look forward to working closely with the government of Sierra Leone and pledged DFID's continued support to the health sector. She urged the authorities involved to ensure transparency so that the targeted beneficiaries could access the drugs. According to the Minister of Health and Sanitation, Dr. Alpha Tijan Wuri, the health of Sierra Leoneans is a priority to the government. He noted that they will increase medical staff, ambulances and additional vehicles to doctors in the Port Loko district to expedite their work. The minister added that they will ensure that each peripheral health unit gets a medical doctor. Dr. Wuri also said that a school of nursing will be opened in the Port Loko district next year, 2019. The handing over of 10 trucks loaded with medical drugs and equipment were distributed to the different health sectors in the district. In another engagement, the minister held discussions with senior staff of the Ministry of Health and Sanitation in Bo on the way forward in the ministry. He noted that for the past 20 years, the ministry has changed 10 ministers, which he said is not good. The minister noted that the retreat is a soul-searching one of the staff performance self-assessment. He urged them to give out their best input for the good of the ministry.
If you look at the book of science, he's focusing on building safe motherhood children.
Other speakers from the Ministry and the World Health Organization made meaningful contributions to the program.
The Westminster Foundation for Democracy has held a dialogue forum with members of Parliament as part of the International Day of Democracy, which is celebrated on 15th of September every year. This year's celebration had as a theme advancing democracy through effective negotiation and consensus building in Parliament. The essence of the deliberation was to get parliamentarians to come out with solutions through negotiations and consensus building. And Maggie Bai reports.
Political actors to look for ways to strengthen democracy and seek answers to systemic challenges facing political players and institutions like Parliament. This includes tackling economic and political inequalities, making democracy more inclusive by bringing the young and marginalized into the political system. If democracy is to thrive in any nation, Parliament has a critical role to play as they represent the people, and it is the lawmaking body for the states. The Westminster Foundation for Democracy country representative Mohamed Jallo said the success of the Sustainable Development Goals revolves around governance and with Parliament playing a crucial role. He added that it was deliberate that this year's IDD was done with parliamentarians in order to have them provide innovative ideas that can strengthen the country's democracy. The composition of this new parliament is a complex one, the more reason why negotiation is needed. Giving an historical background to Sierra Leone's democracy, head of political science for Abbey College, Dr. Charles Silva, said the survival of democracy in any country depends on political parties. The success or failure of political parties, Dr. Silva went on, affects not only the political parties themselves, but the overall functioning of the states. Political parties in Parliament, he added, are not there to only seek the interest of their parties, but to articulate the sufferings of the people they represent and make better laws that can alleviate their sufferings. Underdeveloped countries, he said, are on the path to development, and Sierra Leone is no exception. Therefore, it is imperative that parliamentarians deliver on their promises upon which they were voted for. In his PowerPoint presentation on the power of negotiation and compromise in modern parliaments, the Executive Director, Institute of Governance Reform, Andrew Lavallée, said in a survey that was conducted on the trust level of citizens on the governance system, 60.8% of people said they trust the new set of parliamentarians. This, he said, is a clear indication of the people's expectation on parliamentary deliverables. Political and parliamentary support, he added, have been very minimal and called for reform of the two institutions which are key to the advancement of governance. In the interest of national stability, consensus needs to be developed in order to adequately articulate the sufferings of the people. In their submission on advancing democracy through effective negotiation and consensus building in Parliament, the Deputy Leader of Government Business, Honorable Matthew Newman, Honorable Hassan Sisi of the APC, Honorable Emerson Sa Lamina of C4C, Honorable Ibrahim Ben Kagbo, and a representative from the Sierra Leone People's Party called for sincerity during negotiations. They reminded themselves of the responsibilities they are charged with and not to revert to the things that could undermine the integrity and peace of the nation. For SLBC TV News, Anne-Marie Gigbai reporting.
A 3-day session on youth entrepreneurship and employment project has started at the National Youth Commission. The Youth Entrepreneurship and Employment Project is designed to train over 2,000 young people on entrepreneurship and other relevant skills with the aim to create job employment. The project is funded by the Africa Development Bank. Here is the report.
Create employment opportunities and initiating youth development programs, the Entrepreneurship and Employment Project is designed to build and empower the skills of young people. The Entrepreneurship and Employment Project focuses on training of tutors at the technical vocational institutions, career guidance and counseling, graduate internship program, to name but a few. The project is expected to bridge the gaps in youth empowerment and employment. The Minister of Youth Affairs, Mohamed Oman Bangura, said he is optimistic of having a successful project on youth entrepreneurship and employment. He spoke about plans to instill discipline, compliance, accountability, and transparency to ensure that the project is corrupt-free. He called on young people to have a positive mindset on how they address issues affecting them.
The destiny of every young individual in Sierra Leone is not in the hands of any government or any donor or any individual. Your destiny is in your hand. You've got the opportunity here. Let's change the way we think. Let's recalibrate our minds and say, no, this time around we should succeed, and we have no reason why we should not succeed.
The head of team of the Latanzio Consortium, Andrew Simon, said they are a group of 3 companies that operate in 78 countries. He said their passion is to support governments in empowering young people to be self-reliant and have job opportunities. He said that they will be working with the National Youth Commission to ensure young people realize their potential. Commissioner of the National Youth Commission, Golo Kata, said the project is in line with the Commission's mandate to create jobs for young people through capacity building. He spoke about the significance of building human capital, which will enable them to choose and make decisions on career path.
An employment project is an opportunity to underscore and to revamp the interest shown from His Excellency the President, retired Brigadier Julius Madabio's new direction objectives for youth empowerment.
He said that the Commission and the Ministry are at present working towards the development of a national development plan for 2019 to 2023, which is the generation of the PRSP. The country director of the African Development Bank, Penina Kariuki, said that Sierra Leone has the highest youth unemployment in West Africa. She spoke about Youth in Africa's strategic plan for 2016 to 2025, which is expected to create 25 million jobs for young people. She appealed to the consultant and government of Sierra Leone to ensure compliance and timeliness of the project. She assured them of their commitment in supporting the new direction in addressing unemployment.
Bitter kola is one of the nuts that are grown in Sierra Leone, and most times it is chewed by older folks. Its consumption has increased as people claim it cures malaria, pressure and typhoid. They made the statement when SLBC went out to look on the use of bitter kola. Maya Masuma reports.
Known as Garcinia kola, belongs to the family of Gutefeal. It is found in Benin, Cameroon, Democratic Republic of Congo, Ivory Coast, Gabon, Ghana, Liberia, Nigeria, Senegal and Sierra Leone. It is a wonderful agricultural product with a wide range of applications in natural and orthodox medicine. According to information gathered, bitter kola is a potent antibiotic which could be effective in the treatment of many ailments and infections. Alpha Kagbo chews bitter kola. His mother was suffering from high blood pressure. Bitter kola was recommended for her, and she chewed it and was healed.
Bitter kola assists a lot. When my mother was suffering from high blood pressure, I gave her bitter kola to chew and she gets better. And for that, I confirmed the use of bitter kola as appropriate.
According to Ibrahim James, bitter kola is grown in Kabbalah, Kono and the peninsula. He added that bitter kola has a lot of health benefits like the treatment of cough, sneezing, cold, diarrhea, tuberculosis, bacterial infection and fever.
In Sierra Leone, bitter kola is found in Kabbalah and Kono, and if it gets scarce, people go to Liberia in search of it. In terms of income, we get a bit of profit because the Indians buy the seeds from us to prepare the liquid.
Many people we spoke to say bitter kola improves their sexual performance. The reason why many men are now chewing bitter kola.
Bitter kola is very good. It has no side effects. The only thing one will expect from bitter kola is cure. and it is very good for men. It helps us a lot. Only the men can tell how much it helps.
After speaking to both traders and consumers, it has more clients than the normal kola. They say they have been using bitter kola for far too long now, and it has helped them a lot. But people should not forget that excessive use of traditional or herbal products also has its negative effect. For now, no clinical test has confirmed or denied that bitter kola can cure any disease. Until that test is done, people will continue to chew it. SLBC News, Mariam Asuma reporting.
Lincoln University students are currently languishing in their various communities as they have recently been in administrative dilemma. While the lecturers' strike has been suspended and being discussed further, the payments of fees are in the balance. Patrick Salia reports.
Operations were brought to a standstill here on Monday, 3rd September due to the academic staff strike action, mainly Sierra Leonean staff of this university. The campus here on Hill Station in Freetown have seemingly become a ghost town, but especially so that the government obligation of meeting the 100% scholarship for the over 1,000 students have not been met till date.
Mohamed Lamin Fula is one of the over 1,000 enrolled at the university.
We should have started classes on the 3rd, but because of this situation, it doesn't happen that way. And continue to be sitting at home, it's somehow frustrating. And we all understand the plight of the lecturers to some extent.
Mohamed and his colleagues now find themselves in a state of dilemma, as there is also a question around payments of their fees. Not a single cent of their 100% government scholarship fees has been paid, and the government is not ready to continue footing such a bill amounting to thousands of dollars per student.
It has been made clearly by the administration when we have the last meeting with them that until our sponsors pay our fees before we resume classes. So even if this, because the issue the lecturer we're having is between themselves, the administration and Excel that is recruiting them. But we as students, our focus is with the government, our sponsors, because government pay for our fees.
This tertiary educational facility was brought into Sierra Leone by the former Education Minister, Dr. Minka Iluba, under the Ernest Bai Koroma-led APC administration. And government sources have said that the President Julius Maada Bio regime plans to replace the scholarship, which appears to be expensive, with a student loan scheme, as renegotiation of certain terms are underway.
Extraordinarily high,
will there be
and they were paid in excess of what they are supposed to get. That is what is actually amusing.
So is there faith for them that the government will also pay for their fees?
We are going to fix that. We are in consultation with the Ministry of Finance. I'm pretty sure we'll try to get over that.
Turn the news to look at the main points again. British Parliament delegation has commended President Bio for progress made so far by his government. The High Court has scheduled over 400 cases for trial, and Anti-Corruption Commission has made unannounced visits to the SLFA Academy at Kington. With that all in this edition of News Hour, I'm Don Barry. Thanks for watching. Have a lovely night. God bless you.